Salah, the journey of a modern hero in English football. The roar inside Anfield shook the foundations of the stadium as Mohamed Salah struck the ball with surgical precision, sending it past the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. It was his 250th goal in a Liverpool shirt, a milestone that few in the club's storied history had ever reached. But this wasn't just about numbers. This was about a journey that began in a small Egyptian village and transformed into one of the most remarkable stories in modern football. The streets of Nagrig, a rural town in Egypt's Garbia Governorate, seemed worlds away from the bright lights of the Premier League. Yet it was here that a young boy with extraordinary dreams first kicked a football, running barefoot through dusty lanes with friends who shared his passion. Mohamed's family wasn't wealthy, but they were rich in support. His father worked tirelessly to provide, whilst his mother instilled in him values of humility and perseverance that would define his character long after fame found him. When Liverpool announced Salah's signing in the summer of 2017, many English football fans remembered him from his previous stint at Chelsea, where he had struggled to make an impact. The Egyptian winger had left England quietly, rebuilding his career in Italy with Fiorentina and Roma. Now, returning to the Premier League with Liverpool, skeptics wondered whether he could justify the transfer fee. Jurgen Klopp, however, saw something others had missed. The German manager recognized not just talent, but hunger, intelligence, and an unshakable determination to prove himself on the biggest stage. Salah's first season at Anfield silenced every doubter. From the opening match, it became clear that this wasn't the same player who had departed Chelsea. He moved with a new confidence, a deadly combination of speed and composure that terrorized Premier League defenses. His left foot became a weapon of devastating accuracy, capable of finding the corner of the net from angles that seemed impossible. Match after match, he delivered moments of brilliance that left supporters in awe. The goals came in torrents. Against Watford, he weaved through defenders like they were training cones before slotting home with characteristic calmness. Against Tottenham at Wembley, he scored a magnificent goal that showcased his ability to create something from nothing. The Kop began to sing his name with increasing fervour, and a new chant echoed around Anfield, celebrating their Egyptian king. Children across Liverpool started wearing his number 11 shirt, and his face appeared on murals throughout the city. But it wasn't merely the quantity of goals that captivated audiences, it was the manner in which he scored them. Salah possessed an uncanny ability to remain composed in high-pressure situations. When defenders closed in, he accelerated past them with explosive pace. When space was limited, his close control allowed him to navigate through the tightest of gaps. His finishing was clinical, whether striking with power or placing the ball with delicate precision. Goalkeepers found themselves helpless as shot after shot flew past them. By the end of that debut season, Salah had shattered records. His 32 Premier League goals in a single campaign set a new benchmark, surpassing the previous record and establishing him as one of the most prolific forwards in the competition's history. He won the Premier League Golden Boot, the PFA Players' Player of the Year Award, and the Football Writers' Association Footballer of the Year. These weren't just accolades. They were acknowledgements of a player who had elevated Liverpool's attacking prowess to unprecedented levels. The transformation was complete. Mohamed Salah had arrived not as a returning player seeking redemption, but as a superstar who would define an era. His partnership with Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino created one of the most feared attacking trios in world football. Together, they pressed relentlessly, moved fluidly, and scored prolifically. Klopp's system thrived with Salah leading the charge, his intelligent movement creating spaces for teammates whilst his goal threat kept opposition defences perpetually stretched. Yet amidst all the success and adulation, Salah remained grounded. He spoke softly in interviews, deflecting praise towards his teammates and coaches. When journalists asked about his achievements, he emphasized the collective effort rather than individual glory. This humility endeared him further to Liverpool supporters, who recognized not just a brilliant footballer, but a genuine person who understood the values of their club. Liverpool's resurgence under Klopp coincided perfectly with Salah's arrival. The team that had spent years pursuing Premier League glory now possessed the attacking firepower to challenge the league's elite. Anfield, always a fortress, became an even more intimidating venue for visiting teams. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation every time Salah received the ball in the attacking third, supporters rising from their seats in expectation of magic. His impact extended beyond England's shores. Across Egypt and the Arab world, Mohamed Salah became a symbol of possibility. Young footballers looked up to him not just for his skills, but for his journey, proof that talent and dedication could overcome any obstacle. He carried the hopes of millions, yet never allowed the weight of expectation to diminish his performances. Instead, he channeled it into motivation, driving himself to reach new heights with each passing season. The connection between Salah and Liverpool's supporters deepened with every match. They understood that they were witnessing something special, a player in his absolute prime, delivering performances that would be remembered for generations. When he celebrated goals, his smile was genuine, reflecting the joy he found in representing a club whose history and traditions resonated with his own values. Liverpool had found their Egyptian king, and he had found his home. The road to European glory demanded resilience. Liverpool's journey through the Champions League that season tested every player's mental fortitude, none more so than Mohamed Salah. The semi-final against Roma, his former club, carried emotional weight. He had loved his time in Italy, where the fans had embraced him and given him the platform to rediscover himself. Now he faced them as an opponent, and the reception was hostile. Whistles and jeers rained down from the Stadio Olimpico stands, but Salah responded the only way he knew how, with brilliance on the pitch. The final in Kiev against Real Madrid began with hope and ended in heartbreak. Early in the match, a challenge from Sergio Ramos left Salah writhing on the turf, clutching his shoulder. The injury was serious, forcing him off the pitch whilst Liverpool's dreams hung in the balance. Tears streamed down his face as he walked towards the tunnel, not from physical pain alone, but from the agony of being unable to help his teammates in their most crucial moment. Liverpool lost that night, but the experience forged something unbreakable within the squad. 12 months later, they returned to the Champions League final. This time, Madrid wasn't waiting. Tottenham Hotspur stood in their path. The Wanda Metropolitano in Madrid hosted the clash, and from the opening whistle, Liverpool controlled proceedings. In the second minute, Salah stepped up to take a penalty after Moussa Sissoko's handball. The weight of the previous year's disappointment pressed down on his shoulders as he placed the ball on the spot. The stadium fell silent. He struck it cleanly, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way. Liverpool led, and the healing began. That goal, simple as it appeared, carried immense significance. It exorcised demons, proved his nerve in the biggest moments, and set Liverpool on course for their 6th European Cup. When the final whistle blew, Salah dropped to his knees, overwhelmed by emotion. He had done it. They had done it. The trophy that had eluded Liverpool for so long now belonged to them again, and Mohamed Salah had played a pivotal role in bringing it home to Anfield. The celebrations in Liverpool were extraordinary. Hundreds of thousands lined the streets as the team paraded through the city with the Champions League trophy. Salah waved to the crowds, his smile wider than ever, absorbing the love from supporters who had stood by him through triumph and disappointment. This was what it meant to play for Liverpool, to share these moments with people who lived and breathed the club. But Salah and his teammates weren't satisfied. Winning the Champions League was magnificent, but one prize still eluded them, the Premier League title. Liverpool hadn't won England's top division since 1990, long before the Premier League era began. The hunger to end that drought consumed everyone at the club. The following season, they pursued it with relentless intensity. The title race against Manchester City was brutally competitive. Both teams played at an extraordinarily high level, dropping few points and putting together winning streaks that seemed impossible to sustain. Liverpool's attacking trio continued to devastate opponents, with Salah contributing crucial goals in vital matches. His consistency was remarkable. Even when he wasn't scoring, his movement and creativity opened spaces for others. Despite accumulating 97 points, a total that would have won the league in almost any other season, Liverpool finished second to Manchester City's 98 points. The disappointment was crushing, yet it galvanized them. They had proved they could maintain elite performance levels across an entire campaign. The question was whether they could do it again and finally claim the prize that meant so much. The answer came emphatically. When the next season began, Liverpool started with ferocious determination. They won match after match, building an unassailable lead at the top of the table. Salah's goals kept coming, spectacular strikes from distance, clever finishes inside the box, and those trademark cuts inside from the right flank, followed by curling shots into the far corner. Defenders knew what he would do, yet they couldn't stop him. Then the world changed. A global pandemic brought football to a halt, and uncertainty clouded everything. When play resumed months later in empty stadiums, the atmosphere was surreal, but Liverpool's focus never wavered. They needed just 2 wins to secure the title, and when Chelsea beat Manchester City, the mathematical impossibility became reality. Liverpool were champions of England for the first time in 30 years. Salah celebrated with his teammates at a training ground, far from the Anfield crowds who deserved to witness the moment. It was bittersweet, lacking the outpouring of joy that should have accompanied such a historic achievement. Yet the accomplishment remained monumental. Mohamed Salah was now a Premier League champion, adding the one major domestic honour that had been missing from his collection. His trophy cabinet was becoming impressively crowded. Alongside the Champions League and Premier League medals sat the FIFA Club World Cup, won after a hard-fought victory against Flamengo in Qatar. Salah had scored in extra time to help secure that trophy, once again delivering when it mattered most. Individual awards continued to accumulate. Multiple golden boots, more PFA Team of the Year selections, and consistent recognition as one of the world's finest players. Yet statistics alone couldn't capture Mohamed Salah's true impact. His influence permeated every aspect of Liverpool's play. Opponents had to dedicate multiple defenders to contain him, which freed up space for teammates. His work rate was exceptional. He tracked back to help defensively, pressed opposition defenders with intensity, and never stopped running. Young players at the club watched him train and learned what professionalism meant. In the dressing room, he commanded respect without demanding it. His performances spoke louder than words, setting standards that pushed everyone to elevate their game. Jordan Henderson, Liverpool's captain, often spoke about Salah's importance to the team's mentality. Even on days when goals didn't come easily, his presence on the pitch changed how opponents approached matches. Off the field, Salah's influence reached far beyond football. He used his platform to support charitable causes in Egypt, funding medical facilities and educational programs in his hometown. His success inspired countless young people across Africa and the Middle East, showing them that dreams were achievable through hard work and dedication. He carried himself with dignity, representing not just Liverpool and Egypt, but values of respect and humility that transcended sport. The connection between Mohamed Salah and Liverpool Football Club had become something profound. He wasn't merely a player passing through, he was woven into the fabric of the club's modern history. His name would be spoken alongside the legends who had worn the red shirt before him. When future generations asked about this era of Liverpool's greatness, his story would be central to every telling. The milestone arrived during a match that felt fitting for such an occasion. As Mohamed Salah wheeled away in celebration after his 250th goal for Liverpool, the significance of the moment wasn't lost on anyone inside Anfield. 250 goals. The number represented more than statistical achievement. It told the story of countless hours perfecting his craft, innumerable sacrifices, and an unwavering commitment to excellence that had defined his time at the club. To understand what 250 goals meant, one needed only to look at Liverpool's history. The club had been graced by some of football's greatest forwards: Ian Rush, Robbie Fowler, Kenny Dalglish, Roger Hunt. These names were etched into Anfield folklore, their legacies secured through decades of devotion. Mohamed Salah had joined their ranks, placing himself amongst the elite few who had reached such heights whilst wearing the famous red shirt. His goals-per-game ratio stood amongst the best in the club's history, a testament to his remarkable consistency. Each goal carried its own story. There were the thunderous strikes from distance that left goalkeepers rooted to the spot, their hands raised not in attempted saves, but in acknowledgement of something unstoppable. There were the delicate chips over advancing keepers, executed with the composure of a player who trusted his technique absolutely. There were the tap-ins, simple finishes that resulted from intelligent positioning and an instinct for being in the right place at precisely the right moment. What set Salah apart wasn't just his ability to score different types of goals, but his capacity to deliver them in crucial situations. Title deciders, derby matches, European nights under Anfield's lights, these were the stages where he thrived. When Liverpool needed inspiration, he provided it. When momentum threatened to swing against them, he scored the goal that changed everything. This reliability in high-pressure moments elevated him beyond mere goal scorer to genuine match winner. His style of play evolved over the seasons. Early in his Liverpool career, he relied heavily on explosive pace, using his acceleration to burst past defenders before they could react. As he matured, his game developed additional layers. He became more creative, his passing and vision improving alongside his finishing. He learned when to take defenders on and when to play teammates through. His football intelligence grew, and with it came an even deadlier threat. The Premier League had witnessed many exceptional forwards, but few combined Salah's attributes so effectively. His left foot was a precision instrument, capable of generating power or finesse as situations demanded. His balance allowed him to ride challenges and stay on his feet when others would have tumbled. His peripheral vision enabled him to spot runs from teammates while simultaneously tracking defensive positions. He was, in the truest sense, a complete forward. Training ground staff at Liverpool spoke reverently about his work ethic. He arrived early, stayed late, and approached every session with the same intensity he brought to matches. He practiced finishing relentlessly, striking hundreds of shots until the technique became instinctive. He worked on his weaker right foot until it became a genuine weapon. He studied videos of opponents, identifying weaknesses he could exploit. Success hadn't bred complacency. It had fueled an insatiable desire to improve further. Young players at Liverpool's academy looked up to Mohamed Salah as the embodiment of what dedication could achieve. Coaches used him as an example when teaching aspiring footballers about professionalism. His journey from a small Egyptian village to the pinnacle of world football served as proof that talent alone wasn't enough. It required sacrifice, discipline, and an unshakable belief in oneself, even when others doubted. Beyond his impact on the pitch, Salah's influence on Liverpool's global reputation was immeasurable. His presence attracted supporters from across Africa and the Middle East, regions where Liverpool historically had smaller followings. Match attendance in Egypt surged whenever Liverpool played, with cafes and homes filled with people watching their hero compete at the highest level. He had become an ambassador for the club, expanding its reach in ways that transcended sport. The relationship between Mohamed Salah and Liverpool supporters had grown into something deeply personal. They sang his name with genuine affection, recognizing not just his brilliance, but his character. He had never courted controversy, never caused problems behind the scenes, never allowed ego to overshadow the team. In an era where footballer behavior often disappointed, Salah represented something refreshingly authentic. When he spoke about Liverpool in interviews, the emotion was palpable. This wasn't media training or carefully crafted answers. It was genuine love for a club that had given him the platform to showcase his abilities. He understood what it meant to represent Liverpool, the weight of history that came with wearing the shirt, and the responsibility to honor those who had come before him. That understanding manifested in performances that consistently met the highest standards. As Mohamed Salah reflected on his 250 goals, he knew the journey was far from over. There were more records to chase, more trophies to win, more moments of magic to deliver. His hunger remained undiminished, his desire to succeed as strong as the day he first walked through Anfield's doors. The Egyptian king wasn't ready to relinquish his throne. Liverpool Football Club had been blessed with many heroes throughout its illustrious history. Players who became legends, whose names would forever be synonymous with glory and achievement. Mohamed Salah had earned his place amongst them, not through words but through actions, not through promises but through consistent delivery. He was a modern hero in English football, a player whose legacy would endure long after his playing days ended. The story of Mohamed Salah and Liverpool was still being written, each match adding new chapters, each goal contributing to a narrative that captivated millions. It was a story of redemption, of perseverance, of a player who returned to England determined to prove his worth and exceeded every expectation. It was a story of mutual respect between footballer and club, between player and supporters. Most importantly, it was a story that reminded everyone why football mattered, because it could produce moments of transcendent brilliance delivered by individuals who dedicated their lives to perfecting their art, all for the love of the beautiful game.